why I started to like more tune in like where I come from, like where are my roots, is because I was outside of my country, like outside of, you know, like when you get outside of the usual place where you are, you start to question. You start to question about like you want to find out like, okay, like where do I belong? Why like it's like all these things that like naturally just like comes in for the person, and in a way it's kind of like you're being outside of your comfort zone, right? Because you're in a different environment, like you have like nobody here. It's like this is how I came here, like I had nobody, I didn't know anybody, and that was the moment for me. Okay, like I don't have anybody around, like, but how can I, where can I find like these people like to kind of like connect with? But then I realized I have to start with myself. So who am I? This is really like an existential like question, but I think that those kind of things I think really helped me to understand like who I am as a person, who am I as a musician, who am I, these like different like positions, like in terms of like a group of people that I am. But yeah, I think it's like going like out, like being in the world and exploring like different places where you're like with whom you're not familiar with. You start to like get familiar with yourself. At least that's how it worked for me, I guess.
Absolutely.
Because I think if I would have stayed in Latvia, I would never be able to really understand like how important like my Latvian culture is to me, and especially like how much it really like comes through the song. Yeah.
So would you say that when you were trying to figure out like who am I, what makes me an individual, what makes me a unique artist, you found that answer not by crafting some voice, but by just analyzing what you already are?
Yeah, and I think because you also, I mean, like every single situation you go through, like humans, like we learn, we all the time like grow in from different situations, from different like musical situations that we've been put in together, like in, right? So I think it more really comes from like your inner self, because I mean, if you even like listen to like any big artist like Herbie Hancock or like Wayne Shorter, what they talk about is like knowing yourself, like understanding yourself. It all comes from you as a human, because you can have like all the muscle and all the virtuosity, like chops, but if it doesn't like connect with who you are as a person, I think it's just not gonna,
like empty.
Yeah, it's gonna be empty. I mean, like it's gonna sound beautiful and like great, but I think like there's always gonna be this unsatisfaction with like yourself. Like, okay, like something is wrong. Like I'm not feeling something. I feel like everything is there, but like this one piece is missing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like I'm a very also like a spiritual person in that kind of sense. I really need to like have these conversations with myself, because that's how I move forward, like to other things that I want to do, I guess. Yeah. That's
beautiful.
I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I've had thoughts of like really delving deep into Chinese culture, and there's, you know, millennia of history there, musically and in literature and in art and in government and dynasties, and you know, it's one of the oldest cultures on earth. But it's really out, but it doesn't really feel like authentically where I come from either. Like I grew up in a suburb of Texas. You know, I hardly speak my own language enough to get by. And so I was thinking for a time, like maybe I need to get back to my roots and discover this, but it's not the same thing as for example, you two who grew up in your native backgrounds and were so influenced by that from the time you were born. Like I kind of shunned the Chinese side of me until I was like probably in college or something. You know, I was just trying to assimilate into America and just not be different. And now that I'm an artist, I'm like, oh wow, there's not a lot of Asian American jazz musicians. I guess that is different. And how deep do I want to go down that road, or like do I want to make that a part of how I present myself? That's been a strange struggle for me. But I think come to a similar conclusion where it's like I shouldn't have to craft or like study to be me. Like I'm already me. I just need to, you know, I need to think about that more.
I think it's like embracing yourself and like, you know, like allowing yourself to be who you want to be or like who you are. Like don't judge yourself by who you are, because like we're all people. Like we're living human beings. It's just I don't know. It's like this is like the conversation that like I mean I know that like I'm very like insecure. I can be very insecure, but at the same time, how can I try to like let that voice like go outside of me and like don't like impact what I do musically or like in any other like life situations, right? It's very hard. Like, and I think this is a now I like talk like a Buddha.
Yeah.
But it's like
Love it.
no, but honestly, I think it's like we always like are on the path of like discovering ourselves. You know, we're never gonna be like full something like full bloom. I don't know, but
Right.
and I think that's actually the beauty of life, and that's also like the beauty of music, because you know you're never gonna be like fully like ready for anything. You're always like
Absolutely.
looking for something.